We're here at REITWeek 2009, and I'm joined by Chris Mayer of Columbia University, who just finished moderating a panel on the most recent developments in the REIT industry. Chris, could you give us a little take on what the biggest takeaways were for you?
Sure. I think there were several themes. The first, I guess, is from an economic perspective, we're looking at best at a slow recovery in the economy, and it's really going to be driven by actions that the federal government is taking to push the economy up, and that's going to lead to some medium-term problems in a recovery more generally because the budget deficit is there, but there's not a lot of evidence that the private market at the moment is going to be able to step forward and generate a lot of the job growth absent government intervention. So we're looking at a very slow recovery at best. The second, when we really listen to what Bryce said about the apartment world, he's seeing that the unemployment problems in the economy really manifest themselves in apartment leasing and in bad debts, and that's concerning. And if we're going to see the unemployment rate continue to rise through the end of this year, maybe even into next year, that's kind of tough news for apartments. Art Coppola, I think, looking at retail was actually the most positive of the three panelists. Art's retailers, who are really the early warning, the canary in the coal mine for him, are really looking and saying, you know what, there are some green shoots out there. We're seeing some retailers start to take up new leases and do some interesting things, maybe even make some investments in some of the malls. So even though they see sales continuing to be slow through the fourth quarter, beyond that, there's a little bit of hope.
And what about any signs for recovery going forward? Did you notice anything during your discussion regarding in that respect?
I think there are lots of questions, but I think a key question is really what the role of government's going to be, and really seeing if there's some evidence that on the private sector side we're going to be able to get some growth. We're going to see manufacturers start making things. You're going to see people buying cars. Some of the basic kinds of things, there just isn't a lot of evidence that that's happening yet.
For more on this and other news and analysis from REITweek 2009, check out REIT.com.